What is America?
America is a country that was built on greed and genocide. Even as a native, being American, if I wanted to live and be asleep the rest of my life, I could live comfortably. When I wake up and I step out of being an American and being a Lakota, that's when my life becomes uncomfortable. But if I wanted to just try to suppress the truth or suppress my spirituality or suppress my humanity, I could live comfortably for the rest of my life in America. I feel like I'm bringing up the energy in the room, or bringing up in the energy around myself. Like I can feel myself, like almost like this energy like pulsating through me right now. So our souls are made of energy. So when our bodies expire, our souls transfer onto another plane of existence, but they don't go away. But they're a plane of existence that we can't see around us. So by pulling in this energy, the spiritual energy, we're able to connect better to this other plane, and that's how we see it. So, and with the earth, like we're connected to the earth. I mean, you should think about the fact that like everything around you is energy, and everything around you is you're connected to, and everything around you, you should be able to like have a sense, like some of your senses should be connected to it. But we get our senses are dampened, our energy is dampened because a lot of us walk around on concrete, we walk around on rubber soles, we don't touch trees, we don't touch grass with our feet. You know, that's all a connection. We're all connected. Everything's connected. Yeah, I'm a native, and yeah, I might be cool to you because you've seen movies about me or you've heard about me in history, and it's an amazing story, even if it's a tragic story, that we're still human beings and we're still connected. I was raised by my grandmother, and my mother wasn't around, and I don't know who my father is. I don't know his name, I don't know what he looks like, I don't know where he lives or where he did live. I had a lot of abuse happen to me when I was a child, but sometimes when you grow up conditioned to pain, you still can be happy with yourself because you don't realize like how bad it is. I remember we lived in a house on a reservation that didn't have any running water, electricity. We ate on a wood stove. We had a well with a pump, or not a pump, but like a handle that would pump the water. And we'd bring the water in. We'd heat it up in these big pots that we had, and we had this little horse trough that we would take baths in. And then we would have to dump it out with these 5-gallon buckets. We'd haul the water back out. I never realized we were poor, even though we were in this program called Save the Children program, which was for third world countries. and I would have to write letters to these Christian families that would send me money, and I would go to Kmart with these vouchers, and I'd buy myself school clothes, or these boots that they call moon boots. You know, I would get this picture of this white family from somewhere I didn't know they were from, and I would have to write them a letter saying, oh, thank you for helping me, and I'd take a picture of my moon boots and send it back to them, you know. So when I got big, I was conditioned to violence, and I started acting out towards people who, to me, represented the abuse I took as a child. I thought I had a good life, and I thought that I was popular, and I realized like it was real artificial and superficial, and so that's when I changed up. And so once I changed up and I got sober and I got healthy and I started living a happy lifestyle, then like bigger fights started happening. And that's like fights without violence. So Standing Rock was an awakening. It was a mass awakening, and it was a worldwide awakening. Okay, and it was an awakening of the mainstream. One thing about Standing Rock, the camp itself, the front lines is at the oil construction sites. So people would come out from the camp and they would go to the front lines, and they would get abused by the police who were protecting the oil corporation. People would come to the camp, they would feel this belonging, they would feel this feeling of like spiritual healing. So they would gladly step forward and go to these front lines and get abused and come back. And when they came back, the camp would pull them in and they would absorb them like a huge hug and help heal them. And then these people never felt regret about being maced, or about being tear gassed, or about being shot with water cannons in sub-zero temperatures. Like seeing that and feeling that, it's hard to describe because it's not something as physical as it is spiritual or emotional that you feel and that you can sense. One thing that happened with me was when I moved to the city as a teenager from the reservation, a lot of my practices slowed down. A lot of my traditional spiritual practices slowed down, like the singing and the ceremonies and things like that. So I stopped being like a main singer at sweat lodges, which is one of our main ceremonies. And when I got there, it ended up being where I needed to be the head singer at the sweat lodge. And I had no other choice. It just happened that way. And so I sang, and it was this great honor, and I just felt this need at that point to transition myself back more into the spirituality of my culture. This shield was used to protect against those streams of mace and those streams of the water cannons and those concussion grenades that they were shooting at them. So, you know, this was created by, I believe, a veteran. I don't know who made this. This was left behind in the trash. A bunch of teepees like this one were burned. And it's because the powers that be don't care about us. They don't feel like we're important. So, you know, one man's trash is another man's treasure. To me, the American culture and to me, the Lakota culture are two different things. And I think they clash like the difference between an eagle and a pig. And, you know, the eagles, they fly on the spiritual high, you know, as the Lakota people. But then these pigs, they wallow and consume everything in this way that's kind of filthy. And so by the systematic warfare that's been done to us after the genocide, after 50 million to 100 million natives were killed off to create America, we were actually put into a situation to where it was hard for us to thrive and to grow these dysfunctions that would keep us suppressed and keep us docile or not a threat to the American culture. So a lot of natives now have moved into this role as a second-class American citizen, this consumerist citizen, and so now that there's this movement, now there's hope. And hope is huge because hope can make you change your life. You know, if you don't have any hope, if you're feeling like you're stuck in a system that will never change, then what's the point? Now it's going to be a lot more of this movement back to being an eagle, back to being able to soar in this spiritual high, or this, you know, being uplifted again. The cool thing about it is I don't feel segregated. I don't feel like as a native I'm the only person that can be this anymore. Like, I feel like it's a worldwide movement, and I feel like we're all becoming more indigenous to the planet Earth again.
Wa ne wa ma yanka yo, hey, hey, yo.